3 to 6 months of expenses. That's the emergency fund rule almost everyone has heard, but almost nobody applies it correctly because 3 months of the wrong number can leave you completely unprotected, and 6 months of more cash than you need can leave thousands of dollars sitting in the wrong place for years. Here's the number that should bother you. A $2,000 car repair financed on a credit card at 24% APR and repaid over 21 months creates approximately $469 in interest. The repair should have cost $2,000. Instead, it costs nearly $2,500. Now scale that mistake up to a job loss. In the scenario we're about to calculate, 4 months without income creates more than $5,000 in interest alone. That's not the cost of the emergency. That's the price of not being ready for it. Today, using 2 realistic financial profiles, we're calculating the 3 types of emergencies most people incorrectly combine into one: the risk multiplier that determines how much you may actually need, and the exact dollar cost of getting the number wrong. What's up? This is Real Money Math, the channel that runs the numbers nobody wants to run. Hit subscribe if you're new. We drop a new video every week. Last time we showed why many American households struggle to save even when their income looks good on paper, and how a pay-yourself-first system makes saving automatic. Today we go one level deeper, because even a perfect saving system doesn't protect you if your emergency fund target is wrong, or if the money is sitting in the wrong account earning almost nothing. Most people treat the word emergency as one single category. It isn't. There are at least 3 distinct types, and they don't cost the same, they don't last the same amount of time, and they shouldn't be planned for in exactly the same way. Type 1, the small financial shock, an unexpected expense between $500 and $2,000. A car repair, a broken appliance, an insurance deductible, a medical bill, a vet bill. This is where many people make their first expensive mistake, because $500 to $2,000 feels small enough to put on a credit card. It feels temporary. But when that balance sits on a high-interest card for months, a temporary problem becomes a much more expensive one. Type 2, the medium disruption. Reduced hours at work, a period of unpaid medical leave, a slow quarter for a commission-based employee, several weeks without freelance clients, or a major home repair. This may require approximately 1 to 3 months of essential expenses, not total spending, essential spending, the bills that continue even after restaurants, entertainment, travel, and optional subscriptions are removed. This is where people who technically have some savings often discover they don't actually have enough. Type 3, the major income event, a job loss, a business interruption, a serious health problem that prevents you from working, or a family situation that forces you to leave your job. This category can last for months while income is reduced or disappears completely, and it's the risk that usually determines your larger emergency fund target. A job search may take several months, a specialized role may take longer to replace, and a worker with variable income may experience repeated smaller disruptions even without officially losing a job. This is why the correct target can't be copied from a headline. It depends on the type of risk you're most exposed to. Someone with stable employment, a second household income, and low fixed expenses may not need the same reserve as a freelancer supporting an entire family. The amount should match the risk, not the popularity of the rule. Let's put real numbers on what happens when the fund is missing. Meet Marcus, 29, lives in Atlanta, works commission-based sales. His income is decent over the year, but changes month to month. He's investing for retirement and paying down debt, but hasn't built a dedicated emergency fund yet. One morning, his car's transmission fails. The repair is $2,000. His checking account is already committed to rent and bills before his next commission lands, so he puts it on a credit card at 24% APR. Repaid over 21 months, his payment is about $118 a month. Total payments approximately $2,469. Interest cost approximately $469. The missing fund added almost 24% to the cost of the repair. Now the major version. Suppose Marcus loses his income. His essential monthly expenses are $2,800, and for this scenario, it takes 4.2 months for income to recover. $2,800 times 4.2 months equals $11,760. He doesn't have that in cash, so it's financed through debt at 24.99% APR. Repaid over 36 months. Monthly payment, approximately $468. Total payments, approximately $16,830. Interest alone, approximately $5,070. He lost income for 4 months. The financial consequences continue for 3 years. The emergency didn't create that $5,000 in additional costs. The financing did. That's the real economic value value of an emergency fund. It's not just interest earned, it's the credit card interest, loan charges, and late fees you never have to experience. Your target isn't one flat number pulled from an article. It starts with your essential expenses, then changes based on your real risk profile. Let's calculate it for two people. First, Sarah. Stable salaried position, 2 household incomes, reliable insurance, steady demand profession. Her essential monthly expenses, housing, utilities, groceries, insurance, transportation, and minimum debt are $4,400. No restaurants, travel, or discretionary shopping counted. Given her stability, 3 months is a reasonable starting target. 4,400 times 3 equals $13,200. That's Sarah's target. Now Marcus. His essential monthly number is lower, $2,800, but his income is variable and harder to replace quickly. For him, 6 months is more appropriate. 2,800 times 6 equals $16,800. That's Marcus's target. Notice what happened. Sarah spends more every month, $4,400 versus Marcus's $2,800, but Marcus's target is higher, $16,800 versus Sarah's $13,200. Lower monthly expenses, higher total target, because the calculation isn't only about how much you spend, it's about how predictable your income is, how quickly your job could be replaced, and what support exists if it isn't. Two people, same country, same year, completely different correct numbers. Here's the complete 6-step system for calculating and building your own emergency fund. Step 1. Calculate your essential monthly expenses only. Start with housing, utilities, basic groceries, insurance, minimum debt payments, medication, necessary transportation, phone and internet, and any childcare you'd still need in order to work. Then remove everything that could be paused during a genuine emergency: restaurants, entertainment, travel, optional subscriptions, upgrades, and discretionary shopping. Don't automatically use your current total spending. Use the amount you'd actually need to keep the household functioning. Step 2. Assess your risk honestly. 3 months may be reasonable when you have stable employment, more than one household income, good insurance, manageable debt, and a job that could be replaced relatively quickly. 4 to 5 months may be more appropriate with one primary household income, a volatile industry, a specialized role, or limited outside support. 6 months or more may be appropriate for variable income, freelance work, commission-based employment, a small business, contract work, or dependents relying on a single income. These are a planning framework, not universal laws. The multiplier should reflect your actual situation. Step 3. Multiply your essential expenses by your risk multiplier. That result is your working target. Review it whenever your life changes: a new child, a new mortgage, a change in employment, a move, or the loss of a second household income. Step 4. Choose the right account. The entire fund shouldn't be mixed with everyday spending money, though a small immediate access buffer can stay in check. The larger reserve can be kept in a competitive high-yield savings account or another accessible, appropriately insured deposit account held somewhere stable and separate from everyday spending. Rates change, so treat this as an illustration. On Sarah's $13,200 fund, a traditional savings account paying 0.4% APY earns approximately $53 a year. A high-yield account paying 4.4% earns approximately $581. The annual difference is approximately $528. Same fund, same money, different account, and this money shouldn't sit in the market either. Its job isn't maximum growth, its job is stability exactly when the rest of your finances become unstable. You don't want a $13,000 fund to become a $9,000 fund exactly when you need it. Step 5. Build the fund in stages, not as one giant all or nothing goal. Start with a small shock fund, $1,000 or $2,000, enough to cover one insurance deductible or the most likely near-term emergency. That first amount creates distance between you and the credit card. Then build one full month of essential expenses. Then continue toward the complete risk-based target, automating the transfer on payday before the money becomes part of your normal spending balance. Using Sarah's $13,200 target, at $300 a month, she reaches it in approximately 41 months, about 3 years and 5 months. At $500 a month, approximately 26 months, about 2 years and 2 months. The goal isn't perfection, it's progressive protection. $2,000 is safer than zero. 0, and 1 month of expenses is safer than 2,000. Step 6. Stop, redirect, and review. Once you reach your target, you don't need to keep adding money forever. Redirect that automatic contribution toward other goals, high-interest debt, retirement accounts, investments, or other long-term priorities. But don't forget the emergency fund itself. Review the target at least annually. Recalculate it when your essential expenses or risk profile change. And if you ever use the fund, rebuild it. An emergency fund isn't a trophy you reach once. It's a financial tool that needs to stay ready for the next job it has to do. The 3 types of emergencies: the small shock, the medium disruption, and the major income event. The risk multiplier based on your real income stability, not a number copied from someone else's budget, and the account that may be quietly costing you hundreds of dollars a year sitting in the wrong place. That's the real emergency fund math. Your formula is essential monthly expenses multiplied by a risk-based number of months. Your account should be safe, accessible, separate from everyday spending, competitive, and appropriately insured. And your building system is simple. Create a starter fund, build 1 month of essentials, automate every payday, continue toward the full target, then redirect and review the number every year. The calculator in the description lets you enter your essential expenses, your income type, your household structure, and your preferred risk multiplier, and it calculates your target and estimates how long it may take to reach it. Run your own numbers, because your correct emergency fund is never automatically Sarah's number or Marcus's number, and it's definitely not a random figure copied from a financial headline. If this helped you turn a vague rule into an actual dollar target, hit like. It genuinely helps this channel reach people stuck on the same question. Drop your own essential monthly number in the comments. I read every one, and share this with someone who has savings but no idea if it's actually enough. Next video, the real math behind the 30% rent rule, why it made sense decades ago, and why it fails completely in many American cities today. Subscribe so you don't miss it. I'll see you in the next one.